Hey everyone, welcome to Life Mentored, the podcast that's about stories of courage, of ups and downs, of disappointments, of leaps of faith, the messy middles, the times where we feel like we're alone, where maybe we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. The story about where we've come and where we're going, and the people that impacted us during those times. I'm Joe Mullikin. I hope you'll take this journey with me. One thing that I've committed to on this podcast as we go through is that we won't ever bring money in. One caveat to that is that it's not that I'm never going to ask for people to donate. It's that I'm not personally ever going to bring anything in off of this. And that's important to me for two big reasons. One, this podcast and this project, it started as a passion project for me. Really, it was one of those things where I felt alone and I struggled to see and remember that my story matters. And I wanted to hear the stories that other people had because I was curious. Every time I heard somebody's story, it was inspiring to me. It was incredible. And I've heard some of the most amazing ones. And we hear those podcasts of celebrities. We hear the podcasts of the most grandiose ones, but it was the ones of just everyday people going through the same stuff as me, in the same places as me, that gave me courage, that gave me hope. And so this started out as a way for me to just get to know people, to hear those stories. And so this podcast just simply doesn't have a measurement for success. It has a metric for why I might stop doing it. And that metric is I find zero value in this anymore, which I don't foresee happening for a long time. Or that maybe I perceive that no one else does. That really is through people not wanting to share their story. And I don't necessarily foresee that happening either for a long time. But the second one, which is the most important one to me, is that I have a deep belief that mental health, that wellness, that our minds and our bodies are intimately connected to each other, and that our minds and that our hearts have to be nurtured as much as our bodies do. And I think that a lot of times we think of mental health and we think of all that as something else on the plate, but mental health and all of those things, that's the damn plate. That's it. That's the only thing that can be there. All the other stuff exists because that's in place. There's so much research, so many other things, and that's not what we want to. I'm not going to go through that stuff. You can listen to it. You can go find that wherever you want to. But mental health, it is the thing. Our emotional state. I love the way that Debbie Holcomb, she's one of my counselors. She's someone who has spoken into my life. She is a mentor to me. Talks about MERPs, mental, emotional, relational, physical, spiritual well-being. How we're doing. All those things are intimately connected. If one of those things starts to fall off, it's going to start affecting everything else. And I think we forget about that. And so when we start to feel lonely, when we start to reject some of those different things, when we have those moments where we don't feel like we're connected, where we feel like we relate, those fall off. And so to me, this is not something where I want to be able to bring revenue. I don't care. So there'll never be a advertisement on any episode because I believe everybody's story deserves to be told without any obstruction of an advertisement. And two, anything that comes in, it'll cover overhead if it needs to. But after that, everything that comes in, my goal is to be able to donate to mental health, to suicide awareness, foundations, organizations, charities, activists, groups around this country. I can't wait to have Eric Cusin, who's the founder of Same Here Global, for you to hear his episode, for you to hear his story and the work that he does. I can't wait for you to hear from people like Kevin Polkey, who runs an organization in Rockford, Illinois called Shatter Our Silence for suicide awareness, for you to hear from so many people who have battled either themselves or watched others battle struggles. And I can tell you, I'm one of the people who have done it too. There's a reason that I have a semicolon tattooed on my thumb as a reminder. There's a reason I have a ship anchor and a helm tattooed on my thumbs as reminders. to anchor myself and to steer my ship. But anything that comes in on this, when we say it's ad-free, when we say that Life Mentoring is about stories, that's what it's about. And so this isn't a podcast that you'll hear an ad on. And sure, there may be times where we say, hey, we'd love for people to donate and to help support what we're doing to cover overhead. And then to be able to support the people that might come on that are doing incredible things too. But again, this podcast is simply here for us to hear about the stories and for me to hear about the stories of incredible human beings that walk everyday lives like you and me. Because again, we are the loneliest generation that has ever existed, who has been sold a lie that our stories don't matter unless we are famous or it is the most grandiose. So let's break that lie. Let's shatter that myth and let's listen to those stories. And I hope you take this journey with me and with the incredible people who are coming on to share the incredible stories they have. One more time, let's hear these stories. This is Life Mentoring.